All right. Welcome, everyone, to my AMA for August 17. Next week, the next 2 weeks, I will not be having anything. Next week, we are going to go visit some friends up in Mackinac area of Michigan. If you're not familiar with that, that's at the tip right by the bridge. And then the following week, we were supposed to go sailing. A friend of ours won a trip on one of these silent auctions and won a trip to go sailing, but we had thunderstorms this past Monday. So they rescheduled it for Thursday in 2 weeks. So I won't be able to make it for that. So that'd be my first one back will be in September. And that will be, I'm going to do that one with another AMA. We'll just keep this AMA, Ask Me Anything going here. And then Apple is touted to probably release iPad OS 17 and iOS 17 and possibly, I wouldn't be surprised if they released macOS Sonoma in September. So then what I'll start doing is some classes. I did one on iOS 17, but in September I'll do some on iPad OS 17 and the macOS Sonoma as well. So I figure that'll just kind of, so these AMAs will kind of build a little bit of a gap in between those releases. So that's what's coming up. And like I said, today we have about, it's roughly 40 people that have signed up, and some of them can't make it. They'll watch it later. So I'm going to get started here. And we're going to go with my, let's see here if it comes up. Well, I got to share my screen here, of course. Let's share screen. And we are good, correct? Everyone can see my screen and
Yep.
All right. And I want to be able to see everyone here. Hold on here a second. There we go. Got my chat up. Okay. So welcome to my AMA. You'll notice that I have my AirPods on, and the reason for that is this is something new I'm trying here. I want to be able to try to record your voices as you ask questions. Usually what I will do after the meeting is I'll go into Final Cut Pro and raise everyone's voices up because the only microphone that was picking it up was this one here. So hopefully this will work. We'll see. I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully it won't be a fail and it's not recording anything. But anyway, I think it's going to be good from my preliminary tests. So let's get started with my first question here. I have about 8 questions, and then we can go into a little just loose AMA. And as everyone has probably knows how it goes, if I start hearing some background audio or telephone rings or anything like that, what I'll do is I'll just mute everyone, and then if you have a question, just unmute yourself. All right. The first question that I have is actually from Kevin, and Kevin couldn't make it today, but he submitted this question on the iPad. He only works off of an iPad, so he always asks some good questions, and when it comes down to the iPad, just I give him kudos for using that iPad exclusively. I try. It's not there yet for me, so kudos to Kevin for that. But anyway, what he is talking about, let's go over to my iPad here. And what he is talking about, when you go into an app, what you can do, I'm just going to use Safari here. I think he's talking about Mail, but I don't know if I have some Mail in there but they all kind of work the same. When you open up a web page or a Mail or anything like that, what you're going to see at the very bottom here in some cases is other little windows. And basically what we're able to do with the iPad with certain apps is open up multiple windows, kind of like what we do with the Mac. But with the iPad, what it does is it just takes up the entire display. So as an example, let's open up a couple of windows. So I'm just going to go to Apple here, and I'm going to tap on the plus to add a new tab, and we're going to go to Wikipedia. So I have 2 tabs open. What I'm able to do is move these into separate windows. And all I have to do is just drag one out. You're going to see I have a little green plus over here. And when I tap on, or when I bring up that green plus to the top, you're going to see that it turns into like a little thumbnail. And essentially what it's doing here is it opened up in a new window. So when I view all of my open apps, what you're going to see here, when I just swipe up a little bit, I have Safari here and I have Safari here. So I have two different windows open. So basically, Kevin, what he is seeing here are the little windows down here. That's what he's talking about. I have two windows open. So if I wanted to open up a new window, I tap on that. So he's seeing these little thumbnails here. And then what I'm able to do is go to each one of them, or what I can do is just swipe to go through the different windows. So what he's wondering is, how can you get rid of those little windows? I click on the little three dots again, and there they all are. If I go into another app, or let's just go to the home screen, and then I open up Safari again, you're going to see all those little windows down at the bottom. They just pop up automatically when you go to that app from another app. So he doesn't like that. And basically, he'd like to get rid of them. Basically, the only way that you can get rid of them is by closing them. And what you do is I don't think this works. I think you used to be able to do this. Drag it up. But basically, what you need to do is go to where all of your, this is the easiest way, go to where all of your open apps are, and what you're able to do, you can see I have Safari, 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 Safari. Just swipe up on them, and then that closes them. And now when I go to Safari here, I'm only going to have one window open, and I'm not going to have any thumbnails there. Now when I click on the three dots, I'm able to add one. Here's my one window that I have open, and I can go and add one. But that's basically what it is. It's all of your open windows. Is there a way to prevent that? Unfortunately not. Now I'm going to use iPad. I'm using iPadOS 17, which has a new setting in it. So you're going to see this here, and we're going to try this. I did not try this. So Kevin, I know you recently updated to iPadOS 16, but with iPadOS 17, we're going to see if this works. And if this works, then there may be something in the future for you. So I'm going to go with the multitasking and gestures. And you're going to see I have here multitasking, and I have three options: Stage Manager, Slide Over, Split View, and Off. I'm just going to turn this off, and we're going to see if that stops those windows from opening up. I'm guessing not. Oh, look at that. The three dots are no longer up at the top. This actually might work. And let's go here, and I'm going to drag this up to the top. So I have two windows open. Yep, there they are again. So, Kevin, short answer is not much you can do about it. All you can really do is just close them by swiping up to get to all of your open applications and all of your open windows, and then just closing them till you get down to one. But that is just Apple's implementation of how you can work with multiple windows. If I do go into Mail, let's see here, you're going to see that. Yeah, I'll just leave that one open or closed. Like I said, I'm not sure if I have anything in there, but apps that handle multiple windows, they all work the same way, and that's basically what you're looking at there. So that's the short answer, longer answer to what that is, and if you can do anything about it, which is not much outside of closing the windows. Does anyone have any questions on that?
I see a similar effect in Mail app on the iPad. And
Yeah.
all I do is tap on the main message, and all the rest of the windows disappear.
All right, I'm gonna open up my Mail here, make sure I don't have anything. This is a dummy account, so I just want to make sure there really shouldn't be anything in here. Yep, there's nothing in here. Okay, I just don't want to show people's email addresses and all that. All right, so what are you talking about, Steve? When you let me.
For some reason, by default, the behavior is the same way that he was describing what he sees in Safari, where you see.
There they are.
There you go. The little thumbnails at the bottom pop up and so forth. So all I do is tap anywhere else on the screen, and those disappear.
They disappear. Yep. He just doesn't like to see them there. I think is what, and he'd just like to not have them. He'd like to turn that off, which
Yeah,
can't do.
same here. Same here.
Same thing. Yep. No, unfortunately, I don't think you can turn those off. So, all right. Let's go on to the next question. And the next one is this comes from Barry. Is Barry here? And he's asking how you add gift cards and reward cards to Apple's wallet. And specifically, Tim Horton. I wonder if he's Canadian, although we have Tim Horton in Michigan here. So basically, there's not a set standard way to do this. It depends on the app, and I believe like with Amazon, what you have to do is you have to scan a QR code, and then it adds it to the wallet. Let's go over to my phone here. Depending on the app, you do it from within the app. So what I did is I downloaded Tim Horton's app here, because that's what he specifically asked in the question as an example. So I'll just show how you can do this in Tim Horton. And I believe this is the way that they're slowly moving towards. So what you do is you go to the app, and I am signed in here with, I did have to create an account here with Tim Horton, but basically I'm on their main home screen here, and what I need to do is go to where their rewards are. So I got to find that again. Where did I find their rewards? Discover. I just had it on the screen. Support restaurant. Times rewards. So here's their rewards. And down at the very bottom, you're going to see add to Apple Wallet. Now, the reason why you may want to, I thought this was interesting. I didn't realize this. With Apple Wallet, what it does is it transfers money over, whatever you have in that gift card, into that wallet. So I read Tim Horton's webpage, and if you just use the app like this to make payments, which you can, just like with Starbucks or McDonald's or anything else, you need to have a live internet connection in order for that to work. But if you use the wallet, because it deposits money into that card. So if I go add to Apple Wallet, now there's an error there because I don't have any money in it. But when you add that to the Apple Wallet, you do not need to have an internet connection anymore. It just uses the NFC on the back of the phone, and then you're able to make any payments directly from that wallet. So that's the advantage of using a wallet, the Apple Wallet. You do not have to have an internet connection to make any payments or anything like that. But yeah.
Can I ask that if you've got
Barry,
gift
yes.
card,
Yeah.
if you have a gift card, Tim Hortons gift card, can you just scan the gift card?
Yes, and I believe what you need to do is on that gift card, let's see here. I'm going to see if I can find it on my computer here. Add Tim Horton gift card to Apple. There was something about, you're going to see on my phone here, it says enter promo code. So there was something about that on the web page. So here's where I found it. Click the scan tab and then add to digital wallet. So I would click the scan on the iPhone here. You're going to see scan down here. And from there, I'm able to, let's see here, click scan tab and add to digital wallet. Add payment method, and then somehow you're able to add it to the digital wallet. Every card is different. That's the unfortunate thing. There's not a set way of doing it.
Yeah.
Let me see
That's
here.
it. I've got 21 membership cards, and I've got something like 18 gift cards that we use for our Lions Club, and that's why I don't think I should put all these membership cards on the wallet. I have also what they call a Stow Card app. I put all those on the Stow Card app instead of trying to put them in the wallet, because I think that would make it very, very tedious trying to find.
Yeah. Well, and I actually I went to my wife because she uses these, she has a bunch of cards and she does Chipotle and all that. And she goes, yeah, it's just, I'm like, well, how did you add it in there? I don't even know if I have it. It's just all natural to her. I like, but here you're going to,
grandchildren do it.
yeah. Here it is from Tim Horton. This is what I got a little confused because I'm not familiar with Tim Horton here a little bit, but Marty says that Stocard is a great app. So for everyone that STOCARD. So basically from the home page, click on Scan to Pay, then scroll down, reload your card, click Transfer Balance from another Tim card, type in the 16-digit card number, click Continue, and I love how they say, "You're all set," with exclamation point. It sounds like a lot of steps. You're all set after that.
For the
But
simple-minded.
yeah. But I think like with Amazon, all you have to do is just scan it. And I believe with Apple, with gift cards, so it just depends on, where you got it from. So.
Yeah, like you mentioned that your wife does, or you do the grocery shopping and you get gas and everything. I have gas cards and grocery shopping store cards. So
yeah,
that's I'm hoping I can put the major ones like the gas cards and the grocery shopping cards so that I don't have to
right.
put the cards in with my wallet.
Yeah. Michigan is now just, I think it's going in legislation where we might not have to carry our driver's license with us. So I could really put, my health card. That would be the only thing. Because my insurance I can carry in my Apple Wallet. Michigan allows that. If they get the driver's license, it's really just my health card that I would only have to hang on to. Although really, if I just took a picture of both sides and put it in through Stocard, if something were to happen, somebody would be able to get at that. So
I wonder about Nexus card and your your passport.
True. Don't know anything about that one. So, all right. One day we're getting there.
Thank you.
All right. Yep. No problem. Okay. The next thing that we're going to look at is from James, and he wants to know how to remove unwanted phone numbers from messages. And this one was a little bit difficult to look up because when I looked it up, they're like how you unlink your phone number from messages. That's not what he really wanted to do. When he goes into his Messages app, from what I understand, is James here? Okay. So watch this later. He goes into Messages here, and when he starts typing a new message, he wants to remove the phone numbers that are in there. And there's really not a clear way of doing that. You can't delete the history or you can't delete your contacts. So I'm just going to go with two suggestions here. One of them is you can delete the conversations. So these are called conversations here. This is what Apple considers a conversation. So basically, if I wanted to delete this conversation here, all I have to do is just go and move it over, and I can delete it, and then it removes it from all of the devices. So we'll get rid of, that one has Steve's email address. We'll take that one out there. And, it removes that conversation. And hopefully what it does there, and some people said that it caches it, so it might take a little bit, so it's not going to be immediate. I could go up here and start typing Steve, and it might pull up his email address, but eventually that will go away. Because it isn't, it's just a cache in there, and eventually it'll replace that cache. The other thing that you'll want to do is go into your contacts and make sure that that phone number is not in your contacts here. And, basically you can just search for it here and remove all references to that phone number. Let's see.
He talking about his own phone number or?
Nope. I believe he's talking about other phone numbers. So with his own phone number, what you'd have to do, that is you'd have to go into the Messages app and go to your settings, and you would do this in the Settings app on the iPad and the iPhone. And here you would just go and sign out. It's getting your phone number from your iCloud account, so you'd have to go and change it in iCloud if you wanted to change your own phone number. But I believe what he's talking about is kind of like mail. We're going to go into mail here. Let me just double check. I'm going to switch my screen here. And let's see here. I'll get rid of that one. I got one. There we go. Okay. So go back to my Mac here. So with the Mac, what it does is it stores all of, like in a cache, email addresses and that kind of thing. And what you're able to do is go up under Window here, and you're going to see Previous Recipients. And then from here, what you're able to do is remove all of them. So I'll blur this out. But yeah, basically you can select one and remove it from the list. So then you won't be able to use that anymore. But that's only for mail, and that's what I was looking for on the Messages app. There is nothing equivalent to that in the Messages app. So people said, delete the conversation, and then make sure it's not in your contacts. And then hopefully that will do it. It might take a few days because stuff is just cached in there. So. All right, any questions on that? All right, well, let's go to the next one. I'm rolling through these. Patricia asked about widgets on the Mac. And what she is getting tired of, understandably so, is when you go to the side here, we have all of our widgets. And what you're able to do, now I'm using macOS Sonoma on this. Let me see on my real Mac, not that the one isn't. No. Basically, when she goes over to the side here every once in a while, what it'll do is it'll show those widgets. And I know exactly what she's talking about. I will do the same thing on my computer, and I don't use these widgets here. The good thing is with macOS Sonoma, we can now add them to the desktop, and I'll talk about that in another another seminar, but whatever you want to, AMA. But I can add them to the desktop, so then it's all good. You don't need them over here on the side. So what I would say is just go over to the X here and just remove them. Now, that one I was not able to remove. Let's try this again. Remove widget. So basically I'm control clicking on it. I hold down the control key and I click. I get the contextual menu, and then I'm able to remove it. So what you may want to do is just go through and remove all of the widgets. She was talking about a particular widget that she really didn't like, and that's how you can do that. So then if I were to remove all of them, nothing would ever show there when I go to that side of the screen or anything like that. So that's how you can get rid of your widgets. And like I say, with macOS Sonoma, you'll be able to add them to your desktop, which is a really, really nice feature. There are a lot of things I like about Sonoma, and this is one of my favorite things because it works really nice, and you can add widgets from your iPhone. You're going to see you can actually add, if I go to edit widgets, what I'm able to do is add my Tesla. You're going to see it says from the iPhone over here, and it's able to communicate with my iPhone, and I'm able to turn on the climate or do whatever I need to do to my car, even though I'm on my Mac, because you can't install the Tesla app on the Mac, but I can install the Tesla widget, and it communicates with the iPhone. So nice touches there with widgets, and we no longer have to deal with them over here on the side, so, which I never used them on the side there. Don, I see you have a question on the Apple Pencil. I'm rolling kind of through these, so I'm sure I'm going to have time at the end. Let's just get through these, and then remind me at the end, and we'll see what we can cover, because I do have an Apple. Let me charge my Apple Pencil. So,
oh yeah, hi Dan. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. We'll come back to that.
Oh, you're coming back to it. Okay.
Yeah. Let me get through these other questions first.
Okay, I got
you. Marcy asks, how do time zones work on the calendar? Basically, on the calendar app, when she puts, depending on where she's at, it's when she puts in events in, it'll change the time zone, and because she's in two different places, and she'll add an event when she's over in one time zone and add another event when she's at another time zone, and then things get kind of messed up. So time zones are confusing, and they're still confusing to me. So I'm just going to say try a couple of different things to see, and maybe somebody else can chime in and explain exactly how this works. So I'm going to go to my calendar app here, and what you're able to do with the calendar app is turn on and off time zone support. So what I would do in your case, Marcy, is see what setting you have and I turn it on the opposite. So if it's on, turn it off. If it's off, turn it on, and just see if that helps. So I'll show you where it is, and then we can see if we can figure out what it's doing. And okay, so if I go to my calendar settings, here are preferences for older macOS versions. And we go up under advanced here, what you're going to see here is turn on time zone support. So if this is on, Marcy, I would turn it off. If it's off, I would turn it on, and just see how that works. And basically what this does, I'm going to go to the help here, and we're going to take a quick look at the help. Turn on time zone support. What this does is this adds a pop-up menu in the toolbar when you create an event that allows you to change the time zone in which the events are shown. So let's say I'm in the Eastern time zone, and let's say I'm over in California, so I'm on Pacific time zone. I add an event. What I would do is I would add that event and it's in Eastern time. What I would do, let's go ahead and do that. Test event, and you're going to see it says Eastern time. Now let's just say this was actually for Pacific time. What I could do is I could go to other and then change it to Pacific time, and then it'll put it at that other time. So this can kind of help out when you're creating events. This could help out if I don't do this and I'm in California, it's going to assume that I mean let's see if I get this right. So if Apple is having an event, I would want to put the California time in here. If I just leave it at, their events are at 1 o'clock. If I just leave it at 1 o'clock, it's going to put it at Eastern time because I'm in the Eastern time zone. So what I would need to do is make sure that I select the correct time zone here, and then it'll put it at the right time zone, if that makes sense.
Thanks, Dan. Yes, it does. And I've been just going to normal settings, not the settings in the calendar app.
Okay. Is this on the Mac?
Yeah, but on the Mac as well as my iOS devices. And then it seems like every time I go to put something in, it reverts back to what I had.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go over here too. So yeah, try that and let me know. Like I say, it's not the first time I've got this question. So here we are, time zone override. Time zone. So basically, it's the same kind of question there, or same kind of setup there. So let me know how it goes.
The zone override does not on OS, only on my iOS. But I will mess around with the settings in the calendar preferences. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Next. I'm getting an echo, aren't I? Okay. I'm gonna mute everyone and no, now it's gone. Perfect. Okay, good. Now I lost what the next one was. Hold on here a second. How do you clean up cookies in history? And I'm going to show you I don't know for which device, so I'll just show you on all 3 devices. I actually just created a video for this for the iPad, and I'm going to create one on the iPhone as well. And I probably should do it for the Mac too. So let's just start out with the iPad since I'm on the iPad. If you wanted to clear out your history and browser data, I believe is what they call it, what Apple calls it, what you need to do is go into the Settings app. So I'm in my Settings app here, and then you go to Safari. When you're in Safari here, you're going to see down towards the bottom, Clear History and Website Data. And then from here, what I'm able to do is clear the time frame. So I can clear from the last hour, today and yesterday, or all of my history. Now, the reason why you'd want to do this, there are a few reasons why you may want to do this. But typically the way that I will use this is when I'm on a website and I'm having a problem with it. and this comes into place with my website. Sometimes I have to delete the cache because I'm messing around with it and I can't, it's not loading right because it's loading something from the cache and I'm trying something else out. So if you're having a problem with the website, a lot of times what you can do is just delete the cache and then it'll go through, particularly with member where you have to log into a website. So from here, what I would do is I would try the last hour first and then just kind of step backwards. Because it's not like you want to get rid of all of your history. I mean, you can. It's not going to get rid of your bookmarks or anything like that, but it will get rid of all of your history.
Passwords?
Nope, it's not going to it won't get do of your passwords. Just your history and caching. So you really could go with all history. You just won't have any history, from, past. So you have to rebuild it. But that's it. Like I said, not going to get rid of your passwords, not going to get rid of your anything else, just your data. Now with iPadOS 17, they added profiles, and what you're able to do is clear the history for a particular profile. And the way that I describe profiles are Chrome has it, as well as Edge and Brave and all the other browsers. So Apple is catching up with this. With profiles, where you're able to do, I'll start out what the problem is. I have a Google account on my personal, and I have a Google account for dance tutorials. Well, I'd like to log into both of them. Well, the only way that I can do that in Safari is two ways I could do it. I could log in and then log out and then log into the other one and then log out and then log into the other one, just kind of doing that.
Right.
Nobody wants to do that. The other one would be open it up in a private window. That's typically how I will do it. So I'll have one that, my personal is in a regular window, my dance tutorials in a private window, but the problem with the private window is it doesn't remember any history or anything like that. So it introduces its own problems. It's not designed for that. So with profiles, what you're able to do is create, I dare say, it's like 2 different versions of Safari, or 3 different versions. You're going to see I actually have three profiles here: personal, dance tutorials, and InMug. So what I'm able to do is go into Safari. I'm getting off track here, but I think this is pretty cool. And you're going to see this in the next month. When I go into Safari here, what I'm able to do is log into my Google personal account here. And then I'm able to go to a different profile, and I can log into dance tutorials. You can see it changes color. I could log into my personal account here, or my business account. And let's just say I needed to log into InMug's Google account. I can go to InMug, and now I can easily switch between those different accounts.
Okay.
They're separate profiles. They all share the same bookmarks, but they're separate profiles. So back to the original question, you're able to, if you're having a problem, you can delete the cache from one of those profiles.
There's no problem. It's just, years
Oh.
ago it was, erase your history once in a while and
Yeah.
get rid of those cookies and
Yeah.
stuff.
No, you don't. I mean, I only do it when I have a problem. That's typically the way that I will do it. So I'll show you quickly how to do this on the phone. As you can imagine, it works the same way. So we just go to Settings, and we go to Safari, and then we go to Clear Website, and you can see we have the same options. And then on the Mac, we actually do this through Safari. So I go up into Safari here, and we go to our Safari menu, and you're going to see Clear History. And then from here, I can clear it from the last hour, today, same kind of thing, or from a particular profile.
Gotcha.
And that's basically it. So that's how you can do it. It doesn't harm anything to do it. You just lose, the history, but you don't lose anything else outside of that.
And does clearing out those caches help save space on your computer?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, it's such a small amount of space, so I'd say no. Technically, yes, but realistically, no.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. All right. That's it. So now we can get to, so there's my next AMA is going to be September 7, and I have a typo in there. Sorry about the typo, September. But let's go over to, who was it, Don? Or who had the question on the Apple Pencil?
Yeah, that was me, Dan.
Okay.
Don.
Yep.
Don Winfrey.
Go for it.
I love the Apple Pencil, and first of all, let me explain. I'm legally blind, so my vision is really bad, and I rely heavily on the Mac. But sometimes I use my Apple Pencil on the iPad because I can be so precise in pinpointing things. I'm not, clunking my finger down, getting something. So I love the pencil. So why can't the pencil be used on the iPhone? Is my question for you right now.
You'd have to ask Apple that one. You can buy, and before I forget, Ward, I got your question. I don't know why it's not in my list, but you had a question on resizing, so we'll look at that. I just thought of that. So back to you, Don. I don't know why that's up to Apple, but what you can do, let's see if I have one, is get these. Looks like I don't. Yeah, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna switch screens here. This guy. So you're gonna see it has you may be familiar with these. It has a little rubber tip on it. It also has a.
Oh, yeah.
Pen, it's also a pen. But this little rubber tip, what I'm able to do is go and you can't draw on it, or but it's I guess it's like your finger, but you are able to. You can kind of see what I'm doing there.
Oh, that's great.
And you can buy these. You can buy these things probably at any pharmacy or
By the gross at Amazon.
What's
You
that?
can get like by the gross at Amazon.
Yeah, right.
So cheap.
Yep. So yeah, it's just a little rubber tip on it, and then you can use it for that.
Hey Dan, Mike Gerber, I just have to throw something out. I was watching some old Steve Jobs videos, and he specifically came out, I think when the iPhone was announced, that he said, no, you don't want to get a stylus and a phone. Who wants to do that? We're kind of going backwards now. I think he will roll over in his grave.
Yeah. Steve, he, if you read up on, he changed his mind. At that time he wasn't for it, and I think he would be for the for the stylus on the iPad. He also said he wasn't for the touch screen. I'm telling you, I want to have a touch screen on a Mac. I really do. So, I'm hoping.
Dan, I wanted to show you this too. Can you see that all right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It weighs about 20 pounds.
What was that?
It was a G4.
G4?
Just like the one right behind you.
Yep. I want to look at my questions again, and before we get into Ward's question, make sure I didn't miss anyone else here, so hold on here a second. Because I saw Sandra come in here, and I recognize the name, so I want to make sure that I don't have a question by her either, so let me quickly check here. So what Ward was asking is... he has a large TV, 65-inch Sony, with a wonderful amplifier. Name I haven't heard of in a long time. But anyway, when he plays his Mac on the TV, some things look really good and some things don't. So he's wondering what the options are for resizing different things on the TV when he's AirPlaying or hooking up their HDMI or whatever he's hooking up his Mac with. Do I have that right, Ward?
Okay, I'm running a Mac Mini through the AV processor and sending the image over to the television. And when I started out, I had a default resolution that made a screen that looked like it had about the same real estate as my 27-inch iMac, just enlarged across the screen. So everything was bigger than it would show on the iMac. But I realized, well, wait a minute, I got a lot better resolution on the TV for watching high-def video and movies, let me use the maximum resolution that I can get out of the Mac Mini to that screen. And when that happens, the menu bar becomes very tiny at the top of the screen. And the menus, when they drop down, are about the same size if I walk up to the screen, about the same size that I see on my iMac. But from 10 feet away, it's very hard to read these.
Right.
Now, in some applications like Safari, I'm very practiced now at, as soon as I bring up a page, I go zoom, 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 and I zoom it out and enlarge everything, and then I can read the screen fine. But if I bring up a dialog box in an application, it's back at the very tiny text. So my hope would be to find some place in the system that says, here's how tall the menu bar is, and here's the default font size for all the menus, and so on. And I did a little searching and didn't find anything. So I was hoping that with your experience, you might point me in a way that I could say, change all the system defaults so that I have large text and can still watch my movies in full definition.
All right, so I got a couple of things. Are you using macOS Sonoma?
No.
Okay. So
not
Sonoma might help, and I'm going to say it's the start of it. So with iOS, we can go and change the text size for all of the apps. As long as the developer used dynamic text, which was introduced years ago. So most developers are. App on the Mac, they kind of have the same thing, but it's relatively new. So that, I think, messages, you can adjust the text size. So if I go to messages here, am I showing my Mac? Yeah. What I'm able to do is make the text bigger and smaller outside of any kind of system and resolution and all that. So it's kind of mimicking what we see on the iPad and the iPhone. But that's, it's very, very slim pickings from here. It's messages for the most part. So now what we're going to do is go into the system settings, and we're going to go to our accessibility. And we have a few options here, and then I have something that I've used for years that I'll demonstrate. So when I go to display here, first thing I'm able to do is, now this is macOS Sonoma, I can set the text size. And here are the apps that I can do that with. So as you can see, it's getting better. You can see it's changing in the system settings here. I don't think this is available in older versions. I'm going to check. I'm going to open up on my Big Mac here. Yeah, this is not on. So this is a new setting for macOS Sonoma. So I think that will help out when you upgrade to Sonoma. Not going to be for every app. And as more apps follow Apple's guidelines, it'll get better. And you can set them up for individual. So if one app's a little easier to read or whatever, you can do that as well. The other thing you can do, and this is not new, you can set the menu bar size. So you can see I have mine set for larger because I want people to kind of see this. Personally, I don't know how much larger it makes it. I don't think it's going to make it big enough for what you want. I think I have to reboot. Oh, you can kind of see it there. You used to have to reboot. So it's making my text just a little bit larger. So it's not big changes. But it's something. And then we have prefer horizontal text. I think that's more for your language. And you can adjust your point size, your pointer. And that is it. Probably the biggest thing here is going to be this text size. That'll probably help you out. But in the meantime, what I do, and I learned this over at Apple when I worked at Apple, is I use the zoom feature. So if we go over to zoom here, what I will do is I will turn on modifier key for scroll gesture. So I have a trackpad. It works on the mouse too, but it works really well on the trackpad. When I hold down the control key, watch what happens. So I'm just holding down the control key and I swipe up. I'm zooming in. So if I go over here, so you could watch a movie. You could have this screen really, really small, and then you need to read an email or whatever. All you have to do is just go to your keyboard and hold down the control key, and you'll see here. Let's go to this one. I'm just going to hold down the control key, and I just swipe up, and you can kind of see what it's doing there. So that could be a little trick that could help you out as well. Get rid of that next AMA. For zooming in, and you can see you can zoom in quite far. And all I'm doing is just using that control. So that might help, but those are the only things that I really found with that. And the big setting is macOS Sonoma, and I think probably 2 or 3 years down the road you're going to see probably where you need it for the most part, but we're at the beginning stages of that.
Okay, well, what you've limited yourself to here is the stuff that Apple provides through the user interface. My hope is that there are some wizards out there who, dug into system preference files and are willing to go in and hack those to.
And are you familiar with Onyx?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe for those that aren't familiar with Onyx, Onyx is an app that you can download. Let's just go Onyx Mac. It's been around for a long time. And with Onyx, what you're able to do is adjust system preferences outside of what Ward's talking about. There are a lot of preferences for the Mac, and Apple only gives us a select few of them. So what Onyx does, and maybe these developers will find something of what Ward's trying to find there, and they'll add it to this Onyx app. So essentially, let's go ahead and move it over here. Oh, I already had it. Didn't have to go through all that. Oh well. I got the latest version. And where'd it go? Onyx. Oh, not available on macOS Sonoma. So basically what you're able to do is go into the system settings, and you're going to have a lot more options for changing your system, your Mac system. Basically all it's doing is typing in terminal commands that we don't want to type in ourselves. So maybe it's something like that, Ward. And hopefully what will happen is the developers will take on that dynamic text and all that in future apps.
Okay, well, your pointer to Onyx is just what I needed. I don't want to go in and do terminal stuff.
Yeah, right?
I'd like to have an interface that's easy to use.
Yeah.
Tinker Tool might be another one.
Yeah, Tinker Tool is another one. Let's take a look at that. Tinker Tool. Allows you, like here, make preference changes for, let's see if this one works with Sonoma. Yep. Okay, there we go. So we're able to disable desktop features, add quit item to the Finder menu. So right now, if I go to the Finder here, I can't quit it. But sometimes we run into a problem with the Finder. And the way that I force quit it is I go down to the Finder here, and if you hold down the Option key, and I think they removed this with Mac OS, yeah. So you can't even quit it. You used to be able to force quit it here. So what I can do here is add quit. Might not work with, quit, relaunch. Let's see if it worked. Here we go, I can quit the Finder. Now, the Finder always runs, so when I quit it, guess what it's going to do? It's going to restart, which is what we want it to do anyway. But if you're having a problem, so these are what you can add with these. It's nothing really that harmful here. These, Apple added these. It's just typing in the terminal for you automatically. Restricted Finder. Here, let's go to the dock. Stacks, different options for stacks. Oh, I love this one, spacing. I absolutely love this one. I actually did use Terminal for this on my real Mac, and now I might have to create a video on this because it's absolutely fantastic. So what I have on, I don't use Launchpad, so let's just go ahead and rearrange my dock here. Come on, remove. Okay, I can't remove that one. So let's go with Mail, Messages, and Safari. Those are my main ones that I use. I want to group my media together, so that's down here. So what I'm able to do is insert a space in my dock. Relaunches the dock. You're going to see I have a space here. So now what I can do is I can take this and move this over. And now I have my 3 apps there. Let's go ahead and insert one more. I want to move this one. You can actually take that spacer and move it where you want. So I can actually group my items together in the dock. Apple has, this is built into the Mac. It's just that they decided in their infinite wisdom that they didn't want to enable that. So basically, and you can do a half space if that's a little bit too much of a space. And you can sit here and say, insert it where. So I want it to be after FaceTime. And now you can see I have these grouped together. I have these, so you could group your iWork apps together. You could group your browsing and mail and all that together. And, just kind of, if you were to look at my Big Mac, you would see this exact setup because I absolutely love that. So these are the kind of things that you can go and add. So we'll go to Launchpad, disable different things, change the layout. You can change the icon size, keyboards, desktop. Let's see here, fonts. Let's just go back with Ward's question here. I can change the default size of the font. So let's go with 18 just for fun. Show preview. So that is going to be the new size. I don't know how we change. I don't know how you change it here. Changes take effect when launching or relaunching applications. So I'm going to go into messages here. I didn't relaunch it. Now I'm going to quit and relaunch it. Didn't look like it made any difference there. Let's try mail. Quit. Didn't make any difference. So I don't know what that one's doing. Set to default. But basically, set which apps you always want to be in light mode, even if dark mode is enabled. So check those out. Ward, keep an eye on those to see if they have anything with macOS Sonoma. So here's page, Safari page zoom. So, yep.
Okay,
Tinker.
thank you.
No problem. Any other questions that we may have?
Just a quick one.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how to get CarPlay on my car, and I saw this app, and it's like, how do I find it in the list of apps to see if it really did go through?
So you have CarPlay, right? You have a car there.
I thought I signed up for it, but I don't see any evidence that the icon.
What kind of car? What car do you have?
I have a 2013 Porsche Boxster, and it does have. Every once in a while, my phone will come through the car, and I don't know if the car is just too old. But once I was doing, waves, directions, and all of a sudden it was there on the screen. But you know how stupid I am. Oh, you're laughing.
No, nobody's, no. There's no such thing as a stupid question in my book. Let's see here, CarPlay. We first need to see if your car is compatible. It looks like CarPlay through some other options maybe.
Because I took my phone into the car and I was trying to get it to, I just don't even know. I'm figuring if I don't see the charge, maybe it didn't go through.
Well, you don't have to pay for it. CarPlay is
Oh, I
free.
thought it was like, oh, really?
I mean, unless Porsche's charging you for it, but I don't think they do. Nobody's doing that as far as I know. Being that old card, you definitely do need to plug the phone in before it'll work. And there is a setting on your phone. Now, I don't have CarPlay because unfortunately, because I would love to have it, my car Tesla does not allow that. But basically, yes, settings. And then we go to general. You're going to see CarPlay here. And when you plug in your car, it should. My guess is 2013 might not. Does anyone know if that? Looks like you have to buy modules for that. Apple CarPlay modules. Now, maybe you did have that. So
I don't have that speaker button.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to get tired, so I'll make the kid explain it.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Nope, that's all right.
You know,
That's all right.
I don't even know what to ask. You know what I mean? I don't even know what I don't know.
Yep. I think all of us are that way in some regard. So.
Well, other than that, that's it.
All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, Dan, the Apple event, I've asked this to you before, and I don't know if the group wants to do or not, is what, the 12th or 13th?
It's not official yet, but yes, that's what they're saying.
I would love, even if we spend 5 or 10 minutes in one of the sessions, just to kind of get your take on it or have kind of like a discussion about it.
Yeah, usually what I will do is after that, I mean, I've been using the beta, so I'm going to be talking about those separately. And like last week, I talked about iOS beta. And usually what I'll do is I will have a meeting, on their announcements, like with their phone and, anything like that, and just my take on what they are. So yes, absolutely. I don't generally like to speculate on rumors. I know that they're talking about a larger optical zoom with their phone. I would absolutely love to see that, but I usually just wait until I find out actually if that's going to happen. So.
If you like, I have a GoFundMe fund with a group to send you to Apple to watch the thing in person. You like that?
Okay, sounds good to me. I'd first have to get invited, but yes. I don't know if I'm that well known, but maybe someday.
Okay, Dan, I have a further question on this time zone thing on a
Yeah.
calendar.
Yeah.
If to put something on the calendar, I choose that day that I want to put something in, and then I go to my general settings, pull up calendar app, and then toggle that time zone override on and off.
No. First of all, are you on the Mac, the iPhone, or the iPad?
All of them.
Okay. So I'm on the Mac here, and let's just go and add an event. So let's just say Apple event, September 13. Oops, if I can spell here. September 13 at 1 p.m. That's generally where they are, right? So it adds it in there. And now what you're going to see here is a time, and it puts it in there at 1 to 2 p.m. Well, actually, that's my time, but it should be at the central time. I'm sorry, not central, Pacific time. So what I do is I click in here, and you're going to see it says Eastern, and then I will go in here and say Cupertino.
Okay.
Yeah, you won't have the settings here, this override and all that. You do that once, it's what is it, the Ron Pepe or whatever, set it and forget it. That whole, one of those marketing things. So, and then from this point on, you would go in here and say, and now, should it, Eastern time, I don't want it Eastern.
Yep. Yeah.
There it is, Pacific time. And Pacific time. So basically what it'll do is it'll alert me at It'll alert me at 11. What are they? 3 hours? I got it backwards. But anyway, you know what I'm trying to. Oh, yeah, I'm not. You're not looking at my. There we are. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try that, but would you believe we moved from Hawaii in March, and it's still showing? It still shows up in Hawaii time in that line, and for some reason, no, it doesn't even show that. It just shows up, and I can't change it.
And you have turn on time zone set?
Turn on time zone support, is that, or
Yep.
override support under general for calendar, right?
Yeah. Well, on the Mac, it's in your system settings,
Okay, and
and then it's under advanced. On the iPad, let's go over to my iPad here. It's under calendar, time zone override. And then here I would set my time zone, current time zone to, if I was in.
Okay. General language, calendars, privacy and security, just plain calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Override, Portland. Okay. All right. Then I've got to figure out how the heck to get rid of Hawaii. Okay. All right. I'll give it a go. Thank you so much.
Yep. No problem. All right. I am going to call that a wrap. I'm going to stop recording. Don't forget, I will be taking the next 2 weeks off. I was only really planning on the next week, but like I said, we got some things got shifted around with the weather and all that. So it'll be 2 weeks, and it'll be another AMA, and it's online, so you can register for it. Register for it today. Thank you, everyone, for your support, and we'll see you later.
Travel safe.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Journey.